Okay, now today we're just going to go over how to write a function, right? So this is how we write functions. We write them like this. We start them with the word def on the previous line. We type out the name of the function goes here, so anything could go here. We could put banana. We could put apple. We could put banana, right? We could put something that doesn't make sense, right? We put juice, and we could keep going on like that, right? Then the amount of arguments. Here are the amount of parameters that we have, right? We want to start out using letters in this case, right? So if we want our function to have 6 parameters, we go ahead and give it 6 parameters in letters like so, each separated by a comma in parentheses like this. Then we end the opening function with a colon. This means that we're done opening the function and now it's the body. So when we're talking about the body of the function, you see these print statements, a lot of things could go in here. The code you write outside the function is the same as the code you could write it here. Anything can go inside the function. But whatever we do, we don't want it to say we don't want to define the variables that we use. We just want to use them. We don't want to define our variables. So this, no good. Functions, what we want to do is we want to use those functions to do calculations and return a result, right? And that's the return statement right here. So we have functions, we use that to do calculations. Then we have a return statement, right? A return is basically what we need from the function in order to continue with our code. So say if we're trying to make an apple here, right? Let's say apple. Let me say apple object, apple dictionary. All right, we do some code and then we get an apple dictionary just for hearsay sake. Now, this is how you actually make a dictionary. But just trying to explain what the return statement is for, right? We have code that runs inside of a function, and we return a value. And that return value could be anything. It could be an integer, it could be a string, it could be a list. Okay. And as long as it's defined, it could be a variable. So you could go ahead and return A, right? But if your variable is not defined, you can't just go return ASD, because if you don't see the variable before, then you just can't return random variables right like that. So you want to go ahead and return. And at the end of it, we want to say function ends here. So this is the function body. Notice how function ends here is on the same line as the opening part of the function. We put that there so we could know where our function will end. So if we continue to write code, s equals 2 and cat equals 3, we have end of our function. So that's how to write a function. So what I want you to do is pause the video here and go ahead to write 5 functions just like this, just the way I told you. Go ahead and write 5 functions and continue when we're done. Great. So if you guys were able to finish writing your functions, what we're going to do now is we're going to call a function, all right? So you see in the function, how many parameters is it asking for? 6, right? So you give it 6, all right? How many parameters is it asking for? 4, you give it 4. How many parameters is it asking for? 3, you give it 3, right? So if I say how many parameters it's asking for 10, how many do you give me? 10. If it's asking for 20, how many do you give me? 20. If it's asking for 50, how many do you give me? 50. And if it's asking for 100, how many do you give me? 100. So with that said, right, we're going to go ahead and create a list here with the amount of arguments. You see there's 3 arguments here. Just so you can see, right, we're going to create a list, 3 arguments, and then we're going to call our function. We're going to call our function here with the amount of items in the list. So when you put a star in front of this list, that means count every item. So it's 3 items in here. Those 3 items go in 1, 2, 3. So in order to map this out, 5 would be A, 4 would be C, and 6 would be D. All right, and then right? A variable is set to equal to whatever that function returns. So if the banana finish makes a banana, or like a banana dictionary, the banana answer would be whatever is in this return statement. We go ahead in terminal, right? You always want to run things in the terminal. Never use the spline. The spline is not your friend. Great. Right? We take a look. Right? A plus D, 5 plus 6 is 11. A plus C, 5 plus 4, 9. And A plus D again, 5 plus 4 is 6. 5 plus 6 is 11, as you can see. Right? So that's how we call functions. So what you guys should do is to call the function is that the way that I've shown you, the last 5 functions that you wrote, I want you to call each of them and set them equal to a variable. And if you'd like, you could go ahead and print the variable that you set the function call equal to in order to see what it returns. And if it actually the return statement is working. So if I run this now, right, you can see down the function for the first function and the list here, the return item for the second one.